You have written about plenty of modern figures. You've written what, three different books about the Obamas that I saw,
Right.
including one about their pet. You're
The pet
talking.
is the most popular of the three.
Oh well, of course.
Yeah.
That makes 100% sense.
Ah, First Pooch. It's such a cute little book. I had wanted to write a dog book so badly, and so when the editor wanted me to write about Michelle, I said, and I had already written about Obama, which the editor had also asked me to do. I said, but can I write about the dog that they're going to get? She said, yeah, you can write about the dog too. So I said, okay, okay.
She should be thanking you. It sounds like you you made more money for the publisher with if that one's the most popular. um, with some of the progress we've seen, we were talking. You grew up in the '60s, you said, in Baltimore, and you didn't have books with characters that represented you, other than I assume books you wouldn't want to read. And now there are not enough books available, but there are more books available by authors of color. There have been some progress that's been made. Do you allow that to give you hope? Does that pull you out when you're writing about this history and some of these dark topics that you're covering? Or does that not, would it be better not to allow that to blind you to what still needs to be done, to all of the injustice that are still very much present with us?
Mm, I have to have hope when I to even write about these topics, because some of them can be very difficult. I mean, a person who reads the book only has to read it once if they want to, right? But if I'm working on it, I've got to do the research, so I've got to take this deep dive into the topic, and then also write and rewrite and rewrite and rewrite it, and then go back, then go back into some of the, maybe more research on the topic. So it can take a lot out of me to to create these some of these books. Um, and but so I forget the question. I forget the
That's
question.
okay.
Yeah, I mean,
It
real,
was a very
but real.
sprawling
I'm just trying to
question.
give you an idea of, it is. I, I almost feel like I put a piece of myself in some of these books that I've written, and I approach some of the topics with so much reverence and such a great sense of responsibility. Not only the responsibility that I have to my readers, but the burden of the past that and the suffering that my people have endured. So it's just it can be very difficult to write for me to even write about some of the things that I write about. Um, but then I read it afterwards, and it's not, I have managed to, I think, pull, maybe like almost take the hit for the reader, so that it's not going to affect, it's not going to affect them, the reader, in the same way that it affects me. So it's not going to, it's not going to inflict pain on the reader. It's going to cultivate empathy instead. But when I write about these topics, I feel that I have to actually bear some of the pain that
So how,
was.
when you do that, how do you separate yourself and pull that self? I mean, you've got to teach, you've got to do Zooms, you've got a whole life that you've got to continue on after the pain of that research. So when the book is done, I'm assuming you're still doing a bit of research because you're going to go on and you're going to be speaking about it. But when can you separate yourself from it, or can you ever?
Well, I can't separate myself from it anyway, at all, because it's there's something called race memory. So it's race memory, it means for those who are listening who may not know, is it means that the memory is in your blood. And so even if I don't know, I'm still I'm still bearing that pain inside of me. Even if I don't connect with it or know where the trauma is coming from, it's still inside of me. So I can't totally, disconnect from it, but that's not because I have written about it. That's because I am African American and my people lived through it. But I can't, when I step out of writing about it, I'm not feeling that, that kind of burden anymore, because I feel like I have done something about it. The act of writing is for me a political act. And if I have done something about it, then I can feel better about it, because I feel like I have at least exercised some agency, in the situation. And so, so writing about some of these topics, reaching back and looking at and documenting some of these events, and profiling some of these individuals, these freedom fighters, is my way of showing agency and having agency to to be able to tell these stories.